Good evening. Welcome to the Parks and Recreation and Parks Board for December 1st, 2022. I'm Greg Weaver. I'm going to go ahead and do a roll call the meeting to order, and call a roll call.
Veronica Johnson.
Joe Longobardi.
John Lydon.
Don D. Graves.
We need to have the minutes. We look at the minutes and approve them from last time. Do I have a motion?
I'll motion to approve the minutes.
A second?
Second.
Any discussion? All opposed? All approved?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? It's passed. Okay, we'll jump right into the new business. Girls basketball. Glenn was going to be talking about that. Does anybody have anything on that, the girls basketball?
I think a question I just had was, from a registration perspective, how are we with girls basketball in the grade level do we have that program going this year? Is it still, once they get to fifth grade, they have their own team, like fifth and sixth, I think, used to be together?
Yeah, registration. Matter of fact, basketball, I was going to say registration, but no, basketball starts this weekend. And I've got some numbers here for you with basketball and to share with you. Our girls' enrollment's up a little bit this year, but not much, the same amount of teams. It's the same amount of teams, and to the 5 or 6 teams in the girls' basketball, 49 girls there, 5th, 6th grade. And then, you go to 7th, 8th grade, you have the 4 select teams in the girls' basketball. So the expiration of at the end of last month's meeting, Mr. Larnard was talking about some initiatives or some ways to increase enrollment in girls' basketball. So it continues maybe like the 9th, 10th grade, other different ways of doing it. So getting through basketball now we'll be discovering what to maybe do in the summer league to start doing that, and then maybe to increase the enrollment in the fall. But yeah, it's still running 5th, 6th grade leagues throughout the county, and the 7th, 8th grade girls middle school select league.
Okay.
And what about 3rd and 4th? Are they still with the boys? Do we still do that?
Yes, it's a co-ed league.
Co-ed, okay.
And I think that's another place that Glenn, Mr. Larnard, try to strengthen to get the girls to come out there. How that would propose, I don't know. Your girls' sports are pretty big now between soccer, lacrosse, and field hockey. You do have and during the indoor season.
Right.
Matter of fact, the Leonard Hall in the first day reached capacity in indoor soccer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Have we ever tried to have a girls-only team at the 3rd and 4th grade level?
Mm-hmm.
We have, and did it not enough people?
Numbers. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, because I remember beginning the grade groups 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and it's been that way. Sometimes it was even the 7th and 8th grade league outside of the select to get those numbers and get them throughout the county. Because historically, in those age groups, you have areas play each other in the boys, but the girls now, they have to play throughout the county to do that. So it's been a numbers there, but remember again, there's field hockey, lacrosse, and soccer that's competing with a level of girls sports, and we know the larger volume just isn't there what the boys are in sports. So we're looking for initiatives, other ways to encourage and get basketball growing. I don't know what we can really do as far as the sport that the volunteers aren't going to be investing in helping us with, but we're going to keep pushing and always putting it out there, marketing it, letting them know that it's available, and hopefully it grows that way. But Summer League might be one of the best ways to do that.
That's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions on the girls basketball? Thank you. We'll go on to expansion of programs. Do we know if we're expanding? I think the question was, were we expanding any programs this year?
Well, I think January I'll give you a good report on that, because what happens is now it aligns with the budget. Your fees, I see here, is fees as well, and such. The budget is due to the commissioners again on to finance on January the 10th. In our office, we're going to have that ready in by December 15th. And then, so with all that, we're working on that. Everybody sits down, and I work with each of the recreation coordinators, talk about program expansion, fees, all those things. But we're right in the middle of it right now. So I have a good report for you in January. But we're always looking, but let me just say, we're always looking for expansion. Let me just tell you what way it happened the other day. My office, my phone rings. It's front desk. Somebody out here wants to talk to you. Do you have a minute? I said, I have a minute. They said, I'd like to teach a certain class. I was signing papers today that they had met the appropriate staff. They entered into an agreement, and there's a new program just was started that we didn't know we were going to have on Tuesday, and now we know. So it happens in different forms. People stepping up, promotion through design on our part. But I'll have a good report for you in January.
Okay.
And you might as well, on the second one too, the fees as well, we'll have a recommended handout then. And you'll have that prior to our first budget work session for when the commissioners review that, so you can have some recommendations in there if you like.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions on the programs? Or
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Sorry.
You're just talking about the budget. When does that get briefed to the commissioners?
The calendar's here. It'll be in January. I don't know that Tuesday budget work session, which could tell you exactly, but it's due in finance January the 10th.
Right.
So that tells me a couple, 2 to 3 weeks for them to collate all that, put it together, and present. And then we go back and forth, fees and charges, essential cost changes. Those are the big ones. What are your essential cost changes? And then we also talk about things like rates, contracts, utilities, things that go up. There's nothing really we can do with, whether it be a new bid on a portable toilet contract, grass cutting contract, those things are added to the budget. Things like electric costs going up, fuel oil costs, all that has to be hammered out why budget increase. But the main one's essential cost changes. What are you doing new? What are you asking for this year that's new to the budget that wasn't there before, so that that'll be listed out. And that's how we go through that.
My question was going to be in relationship to expansion. Are there any programs that the public is asking to either start or expand that you're aware of that hasn't come before you that you feel there's an opportunity to expand?
Not really. Anything I think that would be not unreasonable, to prevent us from offering a new program would be an appropriate facility. So, for instance, somebody might say that can we have a indoor disc golf course? Well, we're not set up for that yet. Let's retrofit Leonard Hall maybe next year. But we are always looking for new programs. We advertise to do that we can do in the appropriate facilities or an outdoor recreation. So not that I know of, Don. It's come to my attention. And then it most likely would if it was a space need, just like I mentioned, whether it was an actual appropriate room, a growth, or an amenity in that room.
The numbers on pickleball, have you gotten any new numbers as to how the growth is on pickleball?
No.
As far as age categories go, it's getting any younger?
No, not any new numbers. Now, you know there are improvements of pickleball have been substantial.
Yeah.
With the wind screens. Hopefully this week coming, the lights will be active and on at Chancellor's Run. The bathroom plans are getting there, getting ready so that construction can begin later this winter. So we'll have them ready. But I don't have any detailed numbers. Let me write that down so I can get with Floyd or some of those about what the statistics are for pickleball. I really got some good comments too from regarding the surfacing there at Baggett Park and not 7th, but at Baggett Park for sure.
The other reason I was asking that and came to mind when the subject just came up is I was up visiting my son in Massachusetts, and he wound up, him and his wife are now playing pickleball. And he was talking about a lot of youth were interested in it rather than tennis at a younger age. So that was, with seeing this on tonight's agenda, I wondered if there was any, outreach with,
And that's one of the things.
if anybody had any discussions along those lines. And also in tune with that is that you may recall that we had conversations about pickleball and maybe becoming a little more organized from a board point of view. Had Warren had any conversations along those lines about trying to get some help to do that, or
No.
no?
No. Now, I know that when you said, did you say more organized?
Pardon?
Did you say organized? The pickleball more organized?
Better organized?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I said it, I shouldn't have said it.
No, I'm just trying to get back on track here about what was Floyd's request, Mr. Warren's request.
No, we had a conversation about possibly having, he's holding everything together by himself.
Right.
And whether or not he was reaching out to try to get, because of the growth of the
see.
pickleball exposure, more and more people coming into it, and the forecast for it to only grow as a national sport, that whether or not he would have the incentive of, you can't do it all yourself type of thing, so.
And one of the things, let me tell you a couple of options that would be, this is for not just this program, but any program. Well, naturally, you could set it up like the youth sports. In other words, you have a board, you have a group of leaders that, organizers, and then not everybody's carrying the whole weight of the program. Number two, you could then put a charge to it, and then we could have an effect there through an hourly employee and help some things out regarding that sport. And then I like the idea of youth pickleball, because any sport to get it outdoors, and that is positive.
Anybody else? Anything else
That's
on
all
those
for me,
two, on
thank
the
you.
expansion or the program fees? So we'll look forward to that next month.
That'll be good.
Our next agenda was the gymnastics center. I think everyone's just wondering have we made headway, or what's the status of the gymnastics?
That's a great question, too, because, the lease expires in December 31.
Right.
So we might be, who knows if where we are, be talking to, they were Atlantic Realty at the time, Pax River Realty now, but talking with them soon. I meet with there's two groups, the ad hoc, a smaller group of parents this Wednesday night coming, then a parent meeting immediately after that where I'll address all the parents about the future, gymnastics as well as the facility. But has not been nothing's moved forward as far as the gymnastics center. I think this will be the month that it does, December, January. We have a new board. We'll see our new Board of Commissioners for the first time on Tuesday, and then decisions will be made going forward about what kind of lease agreement we'll enter into, where, if it's building and financing. All those questions will be asked, but I think you're going to see more expeditious progress coming soon.
So it's
But I can't. Yeah, when it comes to land acquisition and all those things, I can't.
it's all in process.
That's
Okay.
right.
Okay.
Right now, but it's in there. But I see it moving forward now.
Okay. Does anybody else have a question?
I had one that just came to mind. I was curious, do you know off the top of your head what the boy-girl numbers are? Are they close to a 50-50, or is it a lot more
Females,
female?
and especially your team. And we had a boys team there for a while, but remember that's a different coach, and those just aren't lining up for us. But we certainly are open for a full diversified program. We just are. And then sometimes you get somebody in town, and then they leave town, then it's only as good as the leader. And then gymnastics is just the parents invest heavily with time and finances. And so to have qualified coaches on the floor, that's a challenge for us at all times. And, but we've been down there, 30 years? And here we go, in an enterprise fund over $300,000. The lease, everything's fully supported by the fees and charges.
So do you think it's more a coaching issue from a male point of view, or?
Most likely, and I'm not even just saying it has to be a male, but when we're recruiting, we know we have to make that 50-person team work that we've had for all those years. To get a male component requires another real qualified coach. Other than that, the boys could be in the lower level recreation side age groups and things like that. But if you're going to advance, you're going to need higher level coaching.
And as we, as you said, it's kind of in the process of options. So are there different COAs that are being discussed that we just haven't seen for what might
Could
come?
you tell you what the options are?
I would love.
Without telling you where they are and who they are?
Can you? Or no?
Well, yeah, so number one is you would re-enter into a full-time lease with who you currently have. And that lease, they've been wanting to do that for some time with a renovation in mind, staying where we are with a renovation, and certainly the cost of the lease now is going to go up. And as I said before, you're going to get anywhere now from $1,050 to, if you go to a place that's a vacant building and get that renovated, to $1,350 a square foot. And then if you build new, it's going to be $16 to $18 a square foot. And so those are the different options. Are we going to build, stay exactly where we are, or is there another space? Those are the options. And that's about where we are tonight.
What do the coaches want to do?
They want a brand-new facility dead in the middle of St. Mary's County, most likely. And I'm just, tongue-in-cheek on that. But it's just the reality of, we always, when you have one facility, everybody says be centralized. You know that. That's an automatic. But certainly, but really what the coaches probably want the most is an adequate space. And and we also want a building that's safe. So that's what the renovation is going to do, a one-point check-in instead of that hall, restrooms on the family side as well as the participant side, so you're not interchanging. People aren't inside of the program area. Looking for a renovation that opens up that floor, because we have some challenges there, and the ceiling height because of the high bar. So if the coaches clean the proper space, and they think if they've been there 30 years, they've been patient. But you know, that if we say the high would be central, brand new, you know that.
Right. Does it look like they would be able to do all the renovations that they're looking for?
Our current realtor, yeah, they do.
Okay.
The ceiling, we've talked about that. We've talked about the ceiling, new office, not office space, but really office space comes with it, but new lobbies for the parents there, moving out where you have that coming out for the vault, that's in a safe spot now. Now you might have some perpendicular interaction there, but clean that area up. All that would change. Yeah, we have a good plan to stay there.
Okay, good.
There's a good plan to stay there, but there's other plans too that are being researched.
Okay.
What has been the growth stage of the program as far as an outlook of needing more square footage for the program?
I don't think we need more floor space square footage as much. And that once we address those two issues on the team side, the recreation side, you can always be larger. Right now, we're in the 400s from the recreational program, different nights of the week. And our high days were in the over 500s, but COVID pushed it back a little bit. But the issue with that is not the issue. The challenge with that, the more classes, the more coaches, and it just, so really, our revenue coming in from our attendance is affording us to be there. We're going to have to do maybe some price increases, but price increases also mean possibly less. So that's a delicate balance so that we have the revenue to support the new fees. Hope I answered your question on that, but I don't think that's our issue as far as overall floor space on the recreation side. And we do have a competition mat, a very nice one on the team side with all the amenities that we need, except for the ceiling and the possibility of perpendicular to each other.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
Anybody else? Anything?
Thank you.
That takes care of the new business. Going back to the old business, ad hoc committees. I know, Don, you had a couple. You had, do you have anything?
I'm not sure that, I had talked to the director a couple weeks ago in relationship to where he's at with his follow-up with staff and himself. And I think it might be more appropriate for the director to update the committee. I'm already updated from the director, but to update the committee in relationship to the meetings that he's held, so on and so forth, with SMECO and so on. I think that would be more appropriate at this point.
Are you prepared for
Well,
that?
yeah, thank you, Mr. DeGraves. You know, at our last meeting, I did present and gave you some estimates about project savings
Right.
with rebates from the Empower Maryland program, and then cost savings for annual cost savings through the electric bill, and then energy savings overall. And then we also, there's a last one, is called the demand, which is a cost savings. In other words, when how much demand does it require when the lights are turned on at an athletic complex, and if the higher that demand, the more your bill's going to go up. And the demand charge is down here, and it's like 40% of the bill. That can drive it up. So what have we done subsequently? Well, we've met. So let's look at it like this. There you have Southern Maryland Electric Co-op, SMECO. Then the Empower Maryland program hired ICF, and that was Tim Vall, who was here before y'all that one week. So then ICF then went out, and then that one approved contractor, Energy Select, which is local, they're the small business solution and do the retrofits that offer the up to 80% rebates. And then you have prescriptive rebates, and I won't get in the weeds with you. So what's happened since then? Well, since then I've met with Tim Vall 2 or 3 times, sometimes once with just Kyle Keeball and myself, but the others with other SMECO and Energy Select in the room. Energy Select 2 or 3 times, SMECO staff, the SMECO division manager here recently, and then also Musco Lighting. And to put one more in there is county government have been meeting with our procurement department, because you have all that in the mix. How does this get done to get those rebates? How does, where are we this and potentially having to bid this out? What do we do about those demand charges and how that works out with our Control Link? That's the app that we can utilize that Mr. Harris, Tyrone Harris uses. Turn lights on when they come on, can control how much demand charge you have, again, which reduces the cost of your monthly bill. So, man, so this, is the next item CIPs?
Yes.
All right, so let me, now I got to go into that area real quick. So the only thing that's changed since the last time is the skate park. Talked with the skate park group. Since I know we're not going to get that skate park built and the other one done in the next fiscal year at the end, we're going to double up at the end of the year and go 24 and 25. Was this last month's?
That's
Or
the
is this
ones prior to the skate park changes, yes.
So you see, we moved skate park up to 900,000, and that would be Nicollet Park and Chaptico. Well, now if we cut that in half, because what that will do is that will get us well started at Chaptico, then in 25 come in with Nicolet's to be done. That will be the plan, and then we use that other 450 as our place marker to put in for these light retrofits, so that if we can't get the 23 money, we'll be into 24 instead of having to wait. So we've done that already in our budget, and and that first budget work session is this Tuesday, December the 6th, with these. So again, that went 450 to lights, stayed 450 into the skate park. So summarize it for you, doing all the research that we can, working with our procurement, working with SMECO, Musco, Energy Select, ICF, all the players have been meeting with them and processing this whole time. And then we also will, I believe, we're going to have a marker in there for amount of money so that then late, we can get started in F-124. And then one more, just when I met with SMECO this week, I was given a paper dated November 22nd that Maryland Department of Energy has just now come out with grant money for retrofitting lights, and mostly parking lot, but athletic field lights, and up to $500,000. So we're applying for that now, and that what's FY23 money. If that comes, then we can start making headway earlier.
So real quick, going back on the lights, the demand, you already started saving
No.
on turning them on the way we
No,
turn them on?
we're close,
Okay.
and working with staff at SMECO and now with Musco, because Musco has our control link.
Okay,
That app is theirs, and we're working with them on that. Had a meeting today on that.
okay. Do most of our lights fixtures now able to separate, do a few at a time, or are they all?
No,
all done?
they're fields at a time is what it would be now. But where we're headed is it will reduce it even more with that we control it better with.
That'll be part of the ad from Spectrum? Okay, okay.
Yep, and that's where we're headed. It's been done in other jurisdictions in some different ways. In my meeting today, believe this or not, one jurisdiction in the state of Maryland, they got the utility company to put every field on a meter. So that, so that reduces the demand, thus their bills down. But the utility company agreed to it, from what I heard. But no, we don't want to go there. If we can get it through Control Link and our app and getting them turned on properly,
Right.
I think that'll be a win for everybody.
So we're in process and all that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
So we're moving forward. Your director's getting educated.
Right.
Kyle's doing an excellent job. Matter of fact, we now have the abilities to do a study on our own fields and parking lots.
Okay.
We have the equipment. We can go out and do that. If there's a parking lot that somebody's dim, we can go measure and see, and oh, well, our candles aren't appropriate. We now know a 60-foot diamond is a 50 lumen in the infield, 30 in the outfield, and that would be the standard, and we can go measure each field and to see what it is. So we have the ability to do all that, plus now we know how to bid. We're close to getting the specifications in case we have to go there.
Okay.
So there you have it.
Are we looking at parking lots also at some of the fields, like a lot of the complaints we got was once the lights get turned off, it's dark, real dark?
Yes. So 5th District is, that'll be done here soon.
Okay,
And because they'll definitely be ready for spring baseball. That's the upper and lower parking lot. Nice LED straight shine down lights. Over there at Baggett, we're fixing that up by just putting a light on that path that goes from the restroom to field 4 in the back. And Dorsey has the street lights in there as a nighttime. Chancellor's is ready to go. And that would leave us out there at Cecil.
thank you for looking at that, I appreciate it. Anybody else?
And we're taking care of those.
I would point out that late today, I got an email from Control Link, and was a question that I was asking them to get on top of for the past couple of weeks, and that was, there seems to be every time we open a door up to find something out, and I'm sure the director agrees with this, okay, another door opens up that we have to explore that opportunity to see what kind of savings there may be at that, with going in a different direction. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, more information is, and sometimes it's challenges that it presents to us, but it's just more investigation. We're finding that. Yeah.
Right. And that's one of the things that's making the paint dry a little slower, okay, for lack of putting it. So I'll share that email with the rest of you. I just shared it actually with Director before the meeting started. And I'll see that you get a copy of it, and make sure that you all get copied on it as time goes on with anything that comes down from them. But basically, the email today had to do with what other avenues there are possibly to consider in turning the lights on and off properly in relationship to the power surge. And of course, our objective, excuse me, as a board, from the beginning was to try to find an avenue upon which that could be accomplished in order to lower fees for the organizations, all organizations, to be more affordable to use lights. And of course, the reason we have lights is to get better use out of our parks, and a lot of the organizations are backing off because it's just too expensive. So, hopefully this is going to keep on winding down, and we'll accomplish that objective over time. So I think this email that I'll send you will give you a little bit of enlightenment as to all the people that are involved at this particular time, along with the director and his staff. And as an individual, I think at this particular time, the director and staff is moving on with meetings to accomplish all those objectives.
Okay. Any other ad hoc questions or committee questions, anything? We can go right into the CIP. I know you already started, just.
Yeah, well, that's about all I had as far as that change for that facility improvements, except for maybe I can go over some of the projects that are a little bit more. The street lights have been installed at Lexington Manor Passive Park. We're moving forward with the restroom at Chaptico. That's still climbing. Playground at Nicollet Park has been installed, and the fencing will be soon. All of our nets will be soon installed on the ends of each of the turf fields as balls are kicked over the woods or into spectator areas. So a lot still be done in parks and facility improvements. But let me go back to skate park again. There's a group of men, there are some ladies too, young people came to me over a year ago about Nicollet Skate Park, and they wanted to invest, and that was a good word, and they've been true to their word. They've been at special events, they've done special events, they're around on Saturdays creating synergy, oversight. We hear feedback, we hear both the good and the bad, the constructive criticism as well. So I'm just letting you know, so when I'm doing this, as a matter of fact, one of the gentlemen spoke at the budget hearing at Chapticon last year. So when dealing with Nicollet, the good news now is I have a group of citizens that I can involve in the budget process, and they can hear from, and I can hear from them too, as well, to what they're hearing from their colleagues, the users, the parents, and so. Being in touch with them this past week about our change here proved to be a profitable conversation moving forward, and I just want to say I appreciate them.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions on the CIP?
The only question I had, we were talking about pickleball earlier, and I know we put up some windscreens. The 7 District Park, I think you told me before when that's on the list to get some improvements. What year?
Well, we have our windscreen there.
Okay, but what about the actual court? There's some dead spots. Are we getting?
That's coming to the front. You'll bear with me. Was that in 23s, Christie? I don't have that. I don't have it with me.
And I don't either, but it is definitely something that I could get back to you tomorrow and email it.
Yeah, and we'll write all of y'all in that email, the whole board.
Thank you.
The only question I had, the St. Clements Museum, how is that still moving forward?
It is.
Good. Tell me a little story.
So it looks like a meeting with Public Works Monday. It looks like January, February, most of the approvals are in hand, so we can then begin getting our solicitation over to Public Works, and then thus to procurement. So we'll probably be sometime in May when get a contractor, get it and get bids back. So we're steadily moving forward. Getting there. And here I have a new CIP sheet here, and let me make sure I refer to that to give you the full accuracy. So, and then here's another one here.
Say 7th is probably.
Court improvements at 7th District, spring too, so it's this spring.
Spring of
Yep.
'23?
Yep, I do have those papers with me. Yep,
Thank you.
you got it. No email needed. St. Clements Island, so, yeah, mid-May construction bids, construction award June, July, and then the following, maybe August, September, that 14-month period or so, construction complete. That's the target date.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
that's our, as long as things go well, those are our targets.
That's a big one for me.
What is the status on the restrooms at Chances Run Regional Park?
They were out there mapping them this week. The plans are approved, so now it's just getting some more approvals. I don't think they'll probably be ready till late spring. Just knowing how things going with winter coming, I think they'll be ready late spring. Those two new restrooms there by the pickleball courts and all, and the playground. But everything's still progressing.
So the mapping you're talking about is METCOM and such, or what?
Well, where the footprints are going to be on the property, you have to do all that, and Metcom's already, that's one of the approvals, but they're already in the hopper for what they're supposed to do, so we're getting there. So, states approved it, just moving forward. And that is going to be nice when those two turf fields have those restrooms. And I think in the future, one of the thoughts I'm thinking as we begin as a board works on this planning of now's a new day, those two restrooms there are going to just be unisex restrooms with locks on the outside, single-use restrooms. No male, female, just single-use restrooms. So I think that going forward, you would take how many you need. Maybe you would put 4 of those there at a larger park. Since it was, well, because you already have restrooms at the top, you have 2 or 3, you only need 2. But let's say it was your only restroom, any new restrooms would be 4 single lock units. And that'd make it a family restroom, people not coming in and out, privacy, and address everyone's needs.
Okay.
So be thinking that through with me as we ponder that moving forward.
Okay. Anybody else have anything for,
The only other thing I was noticing when I was looking at the capital improvement budget sheet, the summary that is provided here, so it looks like the '24 plan that kind of went along when you had your '23 budget, and now we have a larger '24 proposed. Is that kind of where we are right now, that we're thinking we're going to go forward with?
Well, those were changes in '24, right, Christie, on there?
Well, there's 2 different pages.
So I'm looking
Yeah,
at
where's the
the
one?
recreation and parks, the first page.
Okay, the first page.
So we went from, 1.9 to 4.5.
So
if
what
you
you,
round.
the first number is what was actually approved in the '23
Yeah.
budget, correct?
For '24,
And
correct.
yes, the first 24 numbers are what was proposed in
With the '23 budget.
for 24. And then the third column is what is actually now being proposed for 24.
Perfect. So is this based on better estimates that have come in? Like I'm looking at Shannon Farm. Is it because we're trying to move it into '24, and in '23 we hadn't planned on having any money in '24, and now we are, because we're gonna do more
Well,
there?
most of the times in there either priorities have shifted or there's additional cost to it that you didn't know, because now as you get
As
closer
your
through.
estimates are coming in.
As your
you're
estimate, yeah, your estimates are coming
negotiating,
in.
all of that,
And
right.
in as much as negotiating, you're out there and your planner comes back and says, whoa, we have to divert and we need to put a bridge over a wetland. We need this money for some shoreline help, all the different things that come in there. Or well, when we did the turf fields, for instance, turf field at Chancellor's comes back and says, you need soil stabilization on that one big field. What's that going to cost me? That's going to cost probably $80,000. Well, so then now if you know it before the budget, you don't have to go for the commissioner's budget, for a budget amendment, and we knew that, and there was some testing done, and they tell you, then we would just put it in the budget. We needed, with 3 fields, let's go ahead and put another $240,000 in turf fields, for instance, and that's how that works out. And then you see what happened too is that we're going back and say that another priority already came up with these retrofits, we're going to do something different about and make it work with the Nicollet Skate Park.
Could you enlighten us as to, at last month's meeting, Mr. Copsey was here, as to whether that has evolved in relationship to visiting the parks where organizations were concerned about
No, they have not been on.
improved?
No, still doing it, but they have not been on a field trip yet.
Okay.
Nope, still doing it. Excited about that. Now, I did talk about our equipment that we're getting for the dragging in line into the fields, and the storage units and the gators. Those the purchase orders have been processed. Now it's getting all that shipped in, and then need to put out the advertisement for those that want to that serve in that area in that capacity of part-time hourly employment at those fields. So we're still moving ahead on that project and being ready for the spring.
So what is the timeline for that, like 1st of March or what?
Right in there. Look at what the schedule says. The leagues, they generally start by the 1st of March, and they're somewhere practicing.
Now, I think it was around $96,000 for part-time employees. Did you feel that number was going to be enough based on taking on that load, or did it have to be increased?
No, right now I don't. As a matter of fact, because I just went over it this week as preparing for the operating budget in '24. I think that's pretty good, but I won't know until we get out there. Because I think it can be a certain time. It might prove me wrong, and so maybe we'll work on that. And by the time we'll start in March, the good news, Don, you gave me a good idea. March, we'll know in that first month the budget still isn't approved the 1st of April. If we know if there's a huge number, if it's a huge difference than what we estimated, but I don't think it will be.
The water situations at some of the parks where. And this is something that I just started thinking about a few days ago, actually. Some parks that I go to in other areas, they use well, actually, I think St. Mary's Right can use it. They use like a fire hose. Okay. Would any of the parks have access, for instance, let's take Bagot, for instance, where there is water in the restroom areas, you follow me? Would, if in the future something were looked at, say Bagot for grass on a 90, is it possible to get water close enough to that field to water down the infield and properly maintain it? Do you have any ideas whether that's possible or not based on the water supply?
Well, no. For instance, since we put have the well in over there at Dorsey now, and can put irrigation on that field, and now new restroom there, and which allows us to put irrigation on the next Bermuda. It only makes sense to me that there could be a hose bib somewhere installed to get that done.
But I think the question I was asking, and I think you were following me, but is the water supply force, I guess, adequate enough that's in that concession, areas?
Well, my just logic, I don't, is just that if it can drive those sprinkler heads and to irrigate a field, it seems to me it would. But that's a Roy question, and we'll re-answer that one. But water available to the infields and dry infields would be something that, as we're improving, that might not be a bad idea right there.
And I guess the reason I'm asking the question is because in the one conversation we had a few meetings ago, you felt that turf was not reasonable for lack of a better word to use, to consider for infields in the parks. And that, so if we went with grass in some of the parks, would there be water adequate enough to properly keep them up?
Right.
That's where I'm coming from with the question. If that's any consideration down the road.
Because our well at Fifth District Park, irrigation there. So I think they can drive them. I really do.
That was all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else on CIP before we finish up? Thank you, Mr. Shepherd.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, we're going to jump into board member remarks. I'll start to my right.
I have nothing for tonight. Thank you.
I will just remind everyone, there's still a lot going on in the parks, especially at the museums. Piney Point has some stuff going on with trains and different, they're open. So go out there and see the good stuff that St. Mary's County has and go out and enjoy the parks while the weather's good. That's all I have.
I don't have anything tonight.
Nothing?
And believe it or not, I don't have anything either.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I need a second. All,
Aye.
Aye.
we're adjourned. Thank you.